Thank you. The governors of New York and New Jersey have instituted a mandatory quarantine on any health care workers returning from West Africa. Do you agree with that decision? And should they be a clear federal policy on this issue?
Well, I think the way they went about it was wrong. My understanding is that they had the nurse set aside and not at home or anything like that. I mean, it was very, very severe. But also, we do need to recognize that there is a slight risk if somebody is infectious and out in crowds. So I think what would really make sense is to say, you know, stay at home through those days and not necessarily be like locked up, but not in close contact with people. I think we've always done that whenever we've had any kind of exposure to something, and quarantine, self-quarantine, I think is a good thing, and cracking down a little bit on people who are not paying attention to the rules, I think is essential to protect all of us. But the risk is slight, and we know that, so we have to be very careful not to get too hysterical about it, just very cautious and careful.
Mr. Ginter, same question to you.
Well, thank you, Dan, for the question. And I differ very much from Carol Shea Porter. I think this is a very serious issue, as many Americans do. We've had 5 weeks now of this president, this administration, and this Congress knowing that Ebola is a direct threat to not just West Africa, but to America. We need to have an immediate travel ban. I don't understand why the President of the United States refuses to have a travel ban put in place. If you have somebody who comes to the United States, because we don't have a travel ban, who may have been affected, we certainly don't want any other American to get affected, so we have to take immediate proper measures to make sure that those individuals are properly quarantined, and there is no ability for that individual to spread the risk of Ebola. We do not have any leadership from this president. We do not have leadership from the CDC, and I think people are rightly concerned because there's a lack of leadership on this issue.
Congresswoman, a quick follow-up here. Just how seriously do you deem the public health threat when it comes to Ebola?
Well, I think it's very serious. You know, this obviously is a terrible illness, and I think that we need to be very careful. And I have called for a temporary ban on non-essential travel until we really get a handle on it. But I think the CDC and the NIH, they were flat-footed to start, but I think that they have now responded. And I also believe that was a really bad idea to cut the funding for the CDC and NIH and not to have a Surgeon General, which I would put in Frank Ginter's lap because they voted to cut those. So we need to make sure that we have the proper amount of public funding to take care of a public health scare. But we also need to be careful that we're not absolutely assuming that every third person is going to have Ebola. It's just not so. But we need to be careful, absolutely.
Mr. Ginter, your opponent was referring to the sequester and the cuts that went along with that.
Sure. Well, I think Carol Shea Porter thinks every answer to our challenges is to spend more money. The reality is that she should have read the IG's report from Homeland Security that was released just this week. There was a hearing in the House of Representatives just this week that she could have attended. I took a look at that IG report. It said emphatically it was not a money issue. It was a management issue. When I was mayor of the largest state in largest city in New Hampshire, the city of Manchester, when I was mayor, what we used to do is focus on preventative measures, making sure that we would go through time and time again that we were properly prepared for any kind of challenge that the city could come under. It has to be proper management and proper preparation.
All right, let's move